All right, friends, now we have the WooCommerce APIs keys in our hand. Now, in this video, we'll understand the concept that what is the API endpoint, what is the API URL, and how to use those keys what we have generated to call those APIs from React application. So this is all about a step-by-step API analysis process of WooCommerce with Postman. Let's go back to editor. So inside last video, remember, we had generated some keys and placed inside this API.js that is called consumer key and consumer secret. So in this video, we will analyze that what is the API URL, what is the API endpoint, and how to use these keys to call those APIs from Postman. Let's go back to browser. So here, I will navigate to the WordPress admin dashboard. Let's open our front end. So here we have the front end of this admin panel. So after this project URL, simply I will type call wp-json. So once we hit enter, it will basically open a JSON formatted documentation of WordPress, and this documentation is going to provide all about the APIs endpoints of this WordPress application. So whenever if you install WooCommerce plugin into this WordPress setup, and once we open this wp-json after this project URL, so it will give a namespace right here inside this namespaces array, and here we have WooCommerce that is wc forward slash v3. So this is the namespace of WooCommerce APIs endpoint. Then what I will do simply, let's copy this wc forward slash v3. I will open this tab into a duplicate tab. So let's open a duplicate tab. Then after this project URL of WordPress, then wp-json, and after wp-json, let's type our like the namespace of WooCommerce APIs. So once we type, hit enter. Now it will open the complete list of APIs of WooCommerce. So we can see that inside this routes object, here we have wc forward slash v3. Then here we have wc forward slash v3 marketplace. So if I go and close one by one about each API endpoint, so we can see that here we have the multiple APIs, like here we have for the marketplace, then here we have for the coupons, then customer. So also we can see the list of, as we can see, orders, and then after orders, also we can see the list of APIs endpoints or product section. So let's say that I want to try call our first API from this API list so that we'll have some idea that how to call any WooCommerce APIs call from Postman or from React application. So for example, if I go back to this WordPress dashboard, let's click on this products menu. So remember, inside our last video topic, also we have imported some sample data inside this products store. Now simply, I want to call our WooCommerce APIs and I want to list all these products. So what is the process to list all these WooCommerce products? So simply, first we have to go inside this APIs list, and here inside these APIs list, if I go and close one by one again, so here we have the API endpoint as WooCommerce like wc forward slash v3 forward slash products. So if I open these routes, now we can see that it is containing two methods. It means that this API we can call using either get request and post request. So this time I am interested to list like all the products of WooCommerce by the help of API call. So simply it means that I have to use get request type. So simply let's copy this wc forward slash v3 forward slash products, and then I will open again a duplicate tab. So here we have the WordPress project URL, then after that wp-json, then after that wc forward slash v3, then after that here we have the API endpoint as called products. So if I copy this API URL, let's go to VS Code, open a new tab. And if I simply paste, so look at here the API URL as this is all about the project URL of WordPress. Then we have to type wp-json to open the JSON documentation of APIs. And here we have the APIs endpoint as wc forward slash v3 forward slash products. And remember, this API endpoint only we can access after installation of WooCommerce. When you uninstall or deactivate WooCommerce plugin from a WordPress setup, this API endpoint is not going to available anymore to call from WordPress application. So here, let's copy. Now this is if we use get request type, and also to authenticate, if I use the concept of keys, simply it will list all the products what we have inside WooCommerce product section. So I will copy this API URL, then I will open a postman like this is API testing tool. Let's click on this new, open a HTTP request. Now here, simply I'll go and put that API URL right here. I will select get request type. Then I will go inside this authorization. Here we have a drop down, and inside this drop down we can see here we have the types of authentication. So for WooCommerce APIs we have to use auth 1.0. So without having any authentication, if I simply copy this URL, if I go and open it directly, and now we can see that WooCommerce REST cannot view, sorry, you cannot list resources. It means also we have to pass additionally some type of authentication to authenticate and call this API endpoint. So what I will do, simply let's go here, select from this authentication type drop down like auth 1.0. So here we have the consumer key, consumer secret option. So what I will do, simply what the keys we have generated, let's copy this consumer key. Then I will go here, let's replace and paste this key inside this consumer key, consumer secret. So once we pass this consumer key, consumer secret, here we have the signature method as hmac sha1. So after passing all these values, click on the send button. And now we can see that inside this API response, here we have an array of objects we can see, and each object is containing all about products information. So this is the process. It means whenever if I try to call any API endpoint of WooCommerce from React application, so we have to use an authentication for that, and it will be auth 1.0. And inside that authentication, also we have to pass this algorithm like signature method, consumer key, and consumer secret. And whenever, for example, if I will not use any authentication, click on the send button, and now we can see that it is not going to access that API endpoint, and here we have no data. So simply let's go and pass this auth 1.0, pass the valid keys values, click on send button. And now we can see that here we have the products information. Now let's try one more experiment with one more API endpoint, and this time I will try to create a new product inside WooCommerce Store. Let's go back to browser. Then I will go to the JSON documentation here inside this wp-json forward slash WooCommerce like wc forward slash v3. Now we can see that this is our API endpoint, and here this API endpoint also we can hit using post request type. So if we want to list all the products of WooCommerce product store, simply we have to hit this API endpoint using get request type. But this time I want to create a new product, so I will hit using post request type. So first thing first, we want some idea that what are the parameters, what are the arguments we can pass to create a product inside WooCommerce product store. So simply to get that idea, let's close this object. Now inside this API's endpoints, like inside this endpoints, here we have the second object which supports post request type to get the idea of arguments all about the parameters. And here we have the arguments object. We can see name, slug. So all these arguments, actually not all these parameters are required, but yes, when we pass some arguments, some parameters while hitting this API endpoint using post request type, we can easily create a product inside WooCommerce store. So apart from this JSON documentation, also here we have a API documentation of WooCommerce, that is WordPress like woocommerce.github.io forward slash WooCommerce hyphen REST API docs. Now from this documentation, also we can get idea that how to use WooCommerce APIs and APIs endpoints. So for example, I want to create a product inside WooCommerce Store. So inside this left hand sidebar, we can see an option of products. Let's click on it. And inside this products menu, now we can see a sub menu called create a product. So simply let's click into it. And now we can see that this is the API endpoint called wp-json /wc v3 products. If I make some zoom, and again click create a product. Now here this is our API endpoint, and if I talk about the parameters, so if I scroll or go here inside this Node.js, PHP or curl, any of the languages, so we can see that while creating any product, these are the parameters what basically we need to pass, like name, like product name, product type, regular price, description. So what I will do, first I will go, let's go to Postman, then I will copy. Let's open a new tab. Put here the same API endpoint, but this time I'll hit using post request type. Go into authorization, authentication dropdown, auth 1.0. Let's copy this consumer key. Put here. Then I will copy this consumer secret, and here it is. So if I use get request type, click on send button, we can see that it is working. Now let's try to change post request type. Then I will go inside body, go inside raw, click on it like JSON, because this time I will pass our body parameters into JSON format. So go inside body, select JSON, and then after I'll go here. Let's copy all this object of data I have copied. Let's go here and I will pass all those parameters into JSON format here. Let's try to wrap into double quotes, double quotes to this regular price, description. Then here we have sort description, categories, ID. Then here we have the images, and here we have ID and SRC. Now this time, if I copy this whole object, let's go here, open a new tab. We are hitting the same API endpoint, but this time we have to use post request type. So here the parameters of what we are passing called name, type, regular price, description, sort description, categories, and images. So once we go here, let's click on send button, and now we can see here we have like invalid image ID. So for the time being, what I will do, let's go and remove this image, and categories only I need to pass like this information. So let's copy, remove this comma from here, just copy, go here, let's pass this body object, click on send button, and now you can see that successfully we are able to create a new product inside WooCommerce product store. The newly added product has an ID of 111. Let's go to WordPress dashboard and I will confirm from here. Let's go and click on this product section. And now you can see that a new product has been added called premium quality. If I again go here, let's change something sample, or let's call it as new product. Click on send button. Now this time we had created one more product called 112. If I go and check, let's click on this products again. And now we can see that successfully we are able to create one more product inside this WooCommerce product store. Let's try some more API. So this time I want to delete a product from this product store. So what I will do, let's go back to this documentation. This time I want to delete a product. So from this product sub menu, here we have an option called delete a product. So simply the same API endpoint, but this time we have to pass product ID into URL, and the method type we have to use called delete request type. So simply I'll go here inside this Postman. Let's copy this API endpoint, open a new tab. Let's select delete request type, and after products also we have to pass product ID. let's go inside JSON documentation of APIs. And here, let's close. So we can see that this is our API endpoint called WooCommerce like WC V3 products. Here we have the product ID and this URL we can hit using all these request methods. So when we use get request type, it will return single product information. Whenever if I want to update single product data, so in that case we have to use put or batch request type, but inside this API endpoint also we have to pass product ID. So on the basis of product ID and the request method, by putting all these things we can update existing informations of this product into WordPress database. But by using delete request type, this product ID will be deleted like from WordPress. Let's try this API. So here I'll go inside Postman. So I want to delete, for example, let's say this product, and this product has an ID called 112. Click on edit link. So if I go to the URL after click, so if we can see that inside this URL, post equals to 112. So this is product ID. I want to delete this. So let's go to Postman again. And here just pass 112, and also inside authorization I have to use auth 1.0. We have to pass the consumer key and consumer secret. Now this time these keys are valid. The request method type is delete request type and we are passing product ID. Let's click on this send button, and successfully this product now moved from published state to trash state inside WordPress dashboard. If I go here, let's go and reload this product section, and now we can see that premium quality new product now moved from published state to trash state. We can see that it has removed. But in case if I want to delete a product permanent from WordPress database, how to remove? So for example, if I want to delete this product called premium quality permanent from WordPress like 11 ID, so let's go here, pass 11 ID, and additionally we have to pass question mark force force equals to true. Now this is the additional parameter what we have to pass as a query string. We are just instructing that this time we have to delete this product forcefully permanent from WordPress product store. So simply click on the send button, product deleted. If I go and let's reload, and now we can see that premium quality product has been removed from this list, from this published section, and also we are not able to see that product into this trash. So successfully, this is all about some API analysis of this WooCommerce APIs endpoints. So now we have some idea that how to use these APIs while using inside our React application. So in the next video, I will try to use our first method. By the help of that method, actually will generate some digital signature. Because as we can see that while calling any APIs from Postman, we are using the concept of authorization like auth 1.0, and additionally also we are passing some informations like signature, consumer key, and consumer secret. So in the next video we'll create a method inside our React application, and that method will be very helpful when we want to authorize, authenticate with WordPress WooCommerce REST APIs. So for this interesting course, interesting video, please hit the like button to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Now let's meet to our next amazing video. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.